here we have several different options on managing container-based deployment services, but they have a lot of similarity. So in this scenario, you could be in a cloud-based development environment. Maybe you're in AWS Cloud 9, or you're in the Google cloud development environment in a cloud workstation, or potentially in GitHub. And as you're developing, you can test things locally, build containers, but then eventually as you go to production, you'll go through and push this through a build system. So in the case of GitHub, it could be GitHub Actions. In the case of AWS, it could be AWS build system. But the idea here is these containers get pushed to a container registry. And typically, if you're in a cloud provider, you'll use your cloud provider's container registry, but you also could use other public registries like Docker Hub. And then from here, there's a managed container service, and there's lots of different options for managed container services. Typically, someone would want to use the highest level service that's possible, that's efficient in terms of cost. And so in terms of AWS, instead of you going to maybe a virtual machine and setting up your own cluster, you could actually use a managed Kubernetes cluster with AWS EKS. Likewise, you could use an alternative, like a homegrown container orchestration service with AWS ECS, and there's a lot of services in AWS that communicate with this. Other cloud platforms, it's kind of a similar thing. If you go to Google Cloud, you go to GKE, for example, you could push something directly into the managed Kubernetes service because it'll be much easier since they're going to manage that service for you. Or you could even use a very high level service like Google Cloud Run, where it's actually trivial to deploy something to Kubernetes because you have a container and you just run one command and it pushes it into production. So in general, this is the overlay that you should expect when dealing with cloud-based systems. And typically you do not want to deploy things through your own self-managed Kubernetes cluster. You want to actually let the other experts do the heavy lifting for you.